Hi, I'm Elizabeth Miller, and I find working with residents in care facilities rewarding, taxing, and perplexing, and sometimes all of this within one shift. Now, let me explain. Dementia is a group of diseases where the brain is so severely damaged that it causes confusion, affects memory, coordination, judgment, language, behavior, and personality, causing havoc in daily life and in relationships. Over 2/3 of aged care residents have moderate to severe cognitive impairment, and 80% of those with dementia require high-level care. Now, let's consider communication, because communication is so much more than just transmitting information and meaning. Communication is essential to the survival of our species. The gift of language is unique to human beings. Once the person can no longer speak because of dementia, changed behavior becomes the means for communication. Professor Kidwood said that people living with dementia have the same needs as you and I, but their cognitive decline or their brain impairment makes the use of language more difficult. Consequently, they struggle to convey to us what it is that they need. They may very well know what they want, but they can't say it. In this case, the issue is not cognitive, but it is a communication impairment. Most people who move into a care facility, such as a nursing home, have complex needs. They expect to be cared for, and generally speaking, staff work hard to facilitate that. When our residents say that they miss home or miss family, they usually refer to the need for attachment, inclusion, identity, comfort, and occupation. If I had to live in a residential care environment, I too would struggle to cope with so many different care staff of multiple cultural and linguistic backgrounds. I too might be overwhelmed with large communal spaces, incessant communication, noise and rigid schedules. As a resident, I would be severely stressed by being prevented from helping to run and control my home. Many of our elderly residents are also hearing impaired. They struggle to understand staff and make themselves understood by them. This is exacerbated during a pandemic or an outbreak of influenza or gastro, for example, when masked and gowned figures add insult to injury as they flit about, shoving probes into residents' noses or clean up endless, embarrassing messes. Is it any wonder we see unusual behavior? According to the unmet needs model by Cohen-Mansfield, people with dementia often display inappropriate behaviors because of unmet needs and the difficulties in meeting these or in communicating them. This heightens their suffering and makes caregiving even harder. What behaviors might I refer to? Well, take Gloria, for example, who throws her lunch plate against the wall. She no longer can talk and is upset that again she has been served a pile of peas. Her shaky hand can't get them up on her fork, and she never liked them to begin with. Unless staff is aware of the unmet needs model, they might feel quite offended, where a considered response would actually be called for. You might recognize other common behavioral expressions associated with unmet needs. There's Lars, for example, who asks time and time again, when will the exercise session start? I now point to the daily program on the notice board and say, look Lars, it's posted here. Or Jackie, who constantly follows others around, which could express her need for attachment or comfort or security. If you care for a Jackie, have a chat over a cuppa, or include her in simple tasks like even something as simple as folding tea towels. When it comes to fidgeting, agitation, crying out, hiding things, or hoarding, even aggression, investigate if the 5 basic human needs are met and meet them where possible. Is the person hungry or thirsty? Is she tired? Did she sleep through the night? Does she nap too much during the day? Are there any issues around toileting to be considered? Is she hot or cold? Is it too noisy, too bright or too dark? Is her personal space invaded by other residents or even by caregivers? If the person resists care, you may look for ways to generate a warm, calm bathroom atmosphere with their favorite music, for example. Be gentle. People with dementia are often in pain. Observe the nonverbal communication, the body language. The face is a most useful communicator. Be careful not to position yourself behind the person when approaching or talking to the person. Make eye contact. Observe their and your posture, gestures, and tone of voice. I generally recommend the positive physical approach, but especially when coming across agitation, refusal, or care and aggression. This means stop 6 feet out front in a public space. Look friendly and signal hi with your hand. Offer your hand while making eye contact. Approach from the front but move slowly. Initiate the greeting and introduce yourself. Keep shoulders and face back. Respect intimate space. Use a supportive stance, which means to stand to their right hand, not directly in front of them. Get to their eye level and stay at arm's length and wait for their response before continuing to move closer up to them. Make positive statements. For example, let's try cleaning this up. Or, shall we brush the teeth? And then show what you want the person to do by demonstrating with your body the holding of the brush and the brushing of the teeth, for example. Or, could you please help me changing the trousers? Empathy and imagination are the foundations of good person-centered communication. Build on those with verbal and non-verbal communication. Carl Rogers defined empathy as sensing the person's private world as if it were your own. While Morris talks about the importance of validation, the empathetic listening without judgment of their perceived reality, allowing the expression of painful feelings which will cause those painful feelings to diminish. Be mindful, because underneath behavior usually sits a need which drives it. Person-centered communication implies respect, trust, self-determination, and understanding. Don't ignore those values by saying things like, "There you go again, whining," or "Don't be a baby," or "Pull yourself together," or "You make me sick." Unfortunately, these comments are being made. Person-centered communication sees the person with dementia as an individual of value and takes his perspective and social context into account. Leaving people dirty, unkempt, and unattended to violates this principle. Person-centered communication sees the world from the perspective of the person with dementia, taking their history and preferences into account. Person-centered communication is a most needed skill in any dementia setting. While it may not be instinctive and mistakes will be made, it can and must be learned by anybody seriously committed to serving our elderly. Thank you for watching this video to the end.